Okay, everybody, welcome to my tutorial for DaVinci Resolve on how to improve your audio using the free built-in effects and plugins that come within DaVinci Resolve. So it doesn't matter if you're using the paid version or the free version of DaVinci Resolve, all these effects come within it. Now, if you're using video, you're going to have audio, but since this tutorial just focuses on audio, I only have an audio clip listed in here, so it doesn't matter if you're using video audio or just audio alone. This tutorial applies to both. Now, the first thing we need to do after pulling our media clip into here is go down to Fairlight. That'll be the musical note down here at the bottom of your screen. Click on the musical notes and let's open up Fairlight. Okay, we can see our wave audio stuff here. By default, yours will probably look like this, although you can stretch it out so you can see it better. And over here to the side, we have our mixer. Okay. Now my screen is pretty big, so I will zoom in to the side over here when we start adding these plugins. But the first thing I want to do is actually play just a little bit of the the demo track here I recorded for you to let you hear how it sounds before we add anything. So let me play completely through this one time for you. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. This is my demo audio for this tutorial. Let's first start by doing a sibilance test. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally. Sibilance, sibilance. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally. Okay, that should help us isolate any kind of sibilance issues. Now let's move on to general audio. Mary had a little lamb, and its fleece was white as snow. But everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. It followed her to school one day, which was against the rules. It made the children laugh and play to see a lamb in school. Okay, that should do it for this audio for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so there's a few things we can take from listening to this audio. One, you can hear me breathing a lot in it. That's something we can clean up using the expander. Also, the S sounds, the sibilance is quite harsh. That's something else we can clean up using the De-essing plugin. Then also, it is quite, low, not very loud. And that's because when you record your audio, you should be recording in around, averaging around negative 12 dB, with peaking no higher than negative 6 dB. However, when we add compression, everything to this, we will be bringing this up quite a bit, making it quite a bit louder. Okay. And also the audio, this may sound pretty decent for the EQing for most folks. However, I want to add a little bit more broadcast sound to this. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and pull up our equalizer. Okay. So let me pull this over here to the side and so I can zoom in on the screen here. Okay. Now there's a few things I want to go over. The first band here is going to be our high pass filter. That's everything above a set frequency. Currently the default is 47. Pass by. And everything below it gets knocked out. This can really help with plosives. So I am going to put this one on somewhere around 50, which is what I normally do use. And that way, any plosives are get rejected and you won't be able to hear them. It kind of filters them out. Now we go up here to band 6, which is basically the same thing, but works in reverse. And this kind of helps any kind of like overly too loud stuff get into your audio. And especially if you got lower bit rate, maybe resolve any kind of reflections and stuff that cause artifacting. That's a whole nother video that I don't fully understand. But I normally set the high pass filter to about 12. And that is kind of steep, normally what I would want to use. However, for the DaVinci Resolves here, that does mean it does drop off somewhere around 20 or about 18 kilohertz, which is fine because the range of the normal human hearing is only up to about 20,000 hertz anyway. Okay. So got that done. Now we want to bring up the bass and stuff here a little bit. And we go over here to band 2. Now, we got a few different type of filters here. We got a shelf filter, normally for the bass end, and we got a shelf filter for the top end. We have a surgical cut, which would be really good if you got like a certain frequency you need to cut out. Then we have a normal bell, which is what we're going to be using is normal bell here. Okay, now the frequency I want to use is 85. And that'll be like the basic area and stuff of the human voice that give the little more richness and warmth to the sound. Now, I want to boost this up about 6 dB. Okay, that will be on the gain right here. Then the Q factor here, that determines the width. Now the Q factor I normally would recommend was wide as possible, and that'll bring out a lot of that bass in stuff right through here, which would be really nice to help people hear a lot more clear, add more broadcast sound to it. Now, I am going to cut that a little bit around 250 here. So let me dial in 250 on band 3 here. Let me see if I can dial that in. About 251. That's really close enough. And I want to drop the gain about -3 dB. Okay. Now the Q factor I am going to use on this one is about 2. And that'll work about right there. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm doing this. This actually cuts out just a little bit of my voice in particular. That doesn't sound too pleasing. But it really does help make that sound more broadcast-like. And this right here is also kind of resembles, kind of simulate the bass boost you get on a DBX 286, with a low pass boost on it. So let me play this back just a little bit here, the little first part of the clip. You can hear how it sounds. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. Okay, let me pull that back. Now let's turn off EQ and play that again. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. Okay, you can tell that adds, a nice bit of, bass, life, and stuff to the voice. However, we still need to add some clarity. Now, I'm not going to use band 4 here. I'm just going to turn that one on off. Of course, I normally only use about 3 bands and plus a high and low pass filter. And let's go over here straight to band 5. Now, before I forget, also band 3 was also using a bell filter. That's the one that kind of looks like a little, diamond or octagon shaped here on DaVinci Resolve. These are normally represented a little bit different depending on what programs you go to. However, for band 5 here, we are going to use another shelf filter. And by default, it is already on the shelf for the high end. And we want to use, I think you want to use around a 4500. It's normally allowed to boost everything around that area. So if I can't 44.47, that's fine. About 4500 hertz right there. And I want to boost that about 6 dB as well. And this is going to add a lot of clarity to the voice. That way you can easily hear what the person's saying. So let me play this back now. Beginning again. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. And without. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. And back on again. Demo. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. As you can tell, that adds a lot more depth and life and stuff to your voice. Now, like I mentioned, I recorded this. And it was, at 12 dB, -12 dB. And I want to bring this up quite a bit. So I'm going to bring this up to about 12, boost it about 12 dB on the gain here. And yeah. And let's see if that can play without clipping. Improve your audio in DaVinci. And it doesn't yet. So we will have to add a compressor to it. So we pull that down about -6 dB here to about a total of 6 dB on the boost. About 5 will work for right now. So let me play that back right quick. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. Okay, it's loud enough for us to work on it. We can bring that back up later on after we add our compressor and stuff. But now that I got this done, I want to go ahead and add our De-esser. Okay. And you'll find that over here under Noise Reduction, Fairlight Effects, De-esser. Okay. So let me play this and we'll turn it off first. This is my demo audio for this tutorial. Let's first start by doing a sibilance test. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally, sibilance, sibilance. Okay, that's enough of that. That is actually pretty harsh. I don't like that amount of sibilance. If you're not really hearing the S sounds too well, there is a listen to S only option here. And let me play it back with that option. You might be able to hear it a little bit better. So we turn that on and play it again. Let's first start by doing a sibilance test. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally, sibilance, sibilance. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally. Okay. Okay. So now you can probably start hearing it a good bit. We turn about 60% here. And okay. We play it back now. Test. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally. Sibilance, sibilance. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Okay. When you have to listen to S only on there, that lets you help find the S sound. For my this particular recording in my voice, it was around 5,800 hertz, or it says 5.82 kilohertz here. And so yeah, it was 5,800 hertz. Now to widen this out, I'm going to use this, the wider V here, a little, upside down bell, and that is cover a wider area. So let me play that back. And let's turn this off and I want you to hear the difference between the two. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally. Sibilance, off, sibilance. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Let me turn it back on. Sally, Sally. Okay, that should help us isolate. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally. Sibilance, sibilance. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally, Sally. Okay. Okay. So you can tell that the de-esser really is taking that harshness out of your S sound, which is really, really important. And this is something a lot of people need to start adding. So yeah, that was pretty easy to add that one. About 60% is around -9. If it starts sounding too lispy, you can reduce it. If it's, if it's crank it up real high, you're going to start making it sound like lisp. It's going to like somebody's got like a messed up lip or something other. Somebody got punched in the face, got a fat lips, they're not talking too well. However, you can also reduce it to where it sounds nice for you. I think around 60% is normally what sounds best for this particular plugin. And so that's where I'm going to leave it on that. Now the reaction time, you can change if you want to. I have it set on medium, faster. Obviously, it will respond faster. Slower, it responds slower. You just have to kind of find what works for you. I think medium is sort of the best for spoken word. Okay, so now we've got that one done. Now the next thing we want to do is kind of widen out our stereo sound, and that'll be under imaging here. Be imaging, Fairlight effects, stereo width. Now, easy, just go down here to vocal widening, click on it. The preset's already set. That's pretty much it for that plugin right there. And that'll add quite a bit more widening to it. So let me pull the clip back here to beginning and play it again. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. Off. This is my demo audio for this tutorial. Let's first start and wide again. Test. Sally sells seashells. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins. Okay. It's not the best widening plugin, but it works well enough. And I guess DaVinci Resolve is not designed for, real fancy music editing and anything. It's more for video production stuff. But the vocal widening plugin works well enough, I guess. It's not as good as Wider that I use from Effective Mushroom, but this one does come within the program itself. And so it works decent enough for this. Okay. Now we got those done. Let's go down here to our dynamics. Okay, so now I have our dynamics audio window up here. And with the dynamics audio, you have your expander, your gate, your compressor, and limiter. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail between the expander and the gate. However, I do recommend using the expander for vocals. But do look for an upcoming video in the future while we'll get into all these in a lot more detail. So make sure you are subscribed and ring that notification bell for my future videos. Okay. So like I said, for vocals, I highly do recommend everybody use the expander and only use the gate as the last resort. So anyway, let's get over here and first start with the expander. Like I said, with the expander, it can really help with that problem you was hearing earlier, or if I'm about breathing and stuff, and you hear that breathing. So easily, anything below -20, we don't want to hear. So anything below negative 20 dB, which my breathing is normally around 30, to negative 35 dB. This means that will help, eliminate that quite a bit. And the range here, I'm actually going to use 30. And the reason I'm going to use 30 here is because that should eliminate anything below negative 20 down here. So it should push all that down at least 30 more dB, making everything much quieter. And we can emphasize that more with the ratio here, which I'm going to use a 1 to 2.5. And that means anything that kind of clips down right here automatically be pushed down quite a bit. And like I said, expander, it sounds more natural than say using a gate. With a gate, I'll click on it. You can tell it's much sharper. It's why gates sound more choppy. Expanders sound more smoother. Well, like I said, I have a video coming on that in the future. Okay, for my attack and stuff, I normally use I like to use around a 5 milliseconds to a 10 milliseconds. For this particular one, I'm going to use 5 milliseconds. And the hold, I'm going to use around 10 milliseconds. Just make things sound a little smoother. Although 10 milliseconds is very, very hard for anybody to actually notice. So I won't worry too much about it. The release, though, the expander, I do want to use around a 450. 451's close enough. And we can hear what that sounds like with it now to get professional sound. This is my demo audio for this tutorial. Let's first start by doing a sibilance test. Sally sells seashells. Let me turn it off. Seashore. Sally, sibilance, sibilance. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally. Okay. That should help us isolate. You can probably hear me breathing and stuff in there. So let me play this back now. Sally, sibilance. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally. Okay, that should help us. And now you don't hear me breathing on them in the background and stuff, which the expander really does help quite a bit. Okay, now we need to compress the audio. And that is so we can bring up the audio levels a little bit more and normalize things so they sound more constant. And the compressor will really help out a lot in case you start getting too quiet in your videos. Then all of a sudden you want to get real loud. The compressor kind of keep everything more normalized, so you're not yelling at your audience at one moment and then whispering to them at the next. So let me click on compressor here. And for the compressor here, I do want to use a threshold of negative 25 dB. That's normally what I use. And let me see, I hate the way DaVinci Resolve has their knobs. There we go, negative 25. And the ratio here, I'm going to use on the ratio is about 2:5 to 1. Yeah, about 2.5 to 1 here. Yeah, I think that works pretty decent. And for the sidechain, ignore it. That's for sidechain ducking. Not sure if I have a video on that quite yet, or if I do, I can't remember. I think I already did. But if I did, I'll link it up in the cards if you're interested in sidechain ducking. All right, for the attack here, I do want to use the same 5 milliseconds. Hold, same 10 milliseconds. And the release, though, I am going to go about 300 milliseconds on that one. And that'll work quite well. Now, let me play this back now. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. This is my demo audio for this tutorial. Okay, you'll probably notice how much quieter everything seems. That's because compressors don't actually make things louder. You have to bring that up with the makeup gain. Now, as we're seeing while I'm playing here, your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. That blue line indicates how far it's pushing down. So we want to bring it up, let's say, about 10 dB here. That'll get back the same amount of gain stuff we had prior. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. This is my demo audio for this tutorial. Let's first start by doing a sibilance test. Sally sells seashells, and that works quite well. Okay, Now we want to use a limiter, and then we want to use a limiter to keep from audio getting too loud and clipping. If your audio clips, it's going to be very noticeable. People are going to hear it crackle and stuff. You don't want that. Now, DaVinci Resolve limiters a little bit different than most other limiters. It's not very straightforward, even though it's only basically a one knob limiter here. So if you're using other limiters and other programs, like I use Tokyo Dawn Labs limiter Gentleman's Edition, 6, or if you use any of them from like Reaper or whatever, you can be thinking, where's all the other knobs? Well, it's only one single knob, and it's negative 12 dB. Doesn't mean the limiter starts at negative 12 dB. As you can see, the blue line is the limiter up here, going vertical here. So it seems to be more around a hard stop around -3 with a knee going down to about -12. It works okay. It's not my favorite, but it works. Okay, so now let's kind of go up here, the attack on it. Put about 1 millisecond. The hold is 10 milliseconds. If I can dial that in. And the release, I'm going to use 150 milliseconds. And let me get that dialed in. 154. 154 is close enough. It really is. So let me play this audio now. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. This is my demo audio for this tutorial. Let's first start. Okay, if you occasionally see the little spike come down right here on this little third bar, a little darker blue, that resembles the blue from the threshold knob here on the limiter, that is the limiter catching anything getting too loud and stopping it from clipping. So it does work. It's not my favorite limiter, but it does work. By doing a sibilance test. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally. Sibilance. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally. Okay, as you can probably hear during that clip, or probably seen during that clip, over here on the side of the master channel, it was showing that it was still clipping. That's when the little red lights kind of peak up here. So I am actually going to bring this down a little bit more this time. I'm actually going to put it down to like -18. And let's play this now and see if that prevents any clipping. Improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve using the free built-in plugins to get professional sound. This is my demo audio for this tutorial. Let's first start by doing a sibilance test. Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Sally. Yeah, that worked quite well. As you can see, that the limiter was actually actuating a lot more, actually doing a lot more this time. And we didn't get any about red clipping and stuff. So anyway, that is kind of it for this tutorial. I know it's kind of a long tutorial, but I hope everybody enjoyed it, found it helpful. And this is what you can do with inside DaVinci Resolve's Fairlight, using its built-in plugins and stuff to kind of set up and improve your audio, whether it's be your podcast or your YouTube videos. Yeah, this can be very helpful. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up is always highly appreciated. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please take time to subscribe. Subscribing is free. It's for you, unless you want to release more videos. So until next time, everyone, thank you for watching.